Juha Bach is the golden child in my review of Bleach, chapter 565. Here we are, guys, another week of Bleach, and unlike last week's chapter, which was a complete action fest, it featured Renji cutting up Master Masculine like avocados and throwing him into his guacamole of death. It was an awesome chapter, and I wanted to see more from that, but we're going to deviate a little bit this week. We're going to get into the backstory of Juha Bach, and we get to learn why he's so important to all of the Quincy. Essentially, we also get to learn that the Quincy and the Stern Ritter literally do live and die for this character. Now, the actual chapter opens up very ominously. There's this black baby. It's completely outlined. You don't really get any detail on it. And apparently, it's no ordinary baby. It has the ability to heal people, and it can heal them in a number of different ways, not only physically, but spiritually. So if you have like a lung disease, it'll heal that. If you have a broken heart, it'll heal that. However, there is a catch-22 to all of this. It basically can shorten someone's lifespan, or it can outright kill them. But eventually, over time, as he was being touched by all these different people and healing them and giving them powers, he started to heal himself, and over time his limbs would start to move, his eyes would start to open, and then eventually he became the Juha Bach we all know and love. And this was sort of the beginning of the Quincy, and we also learned that his main power is that he's able to collect the reishi around him and the souls and distribute it to other people. This is essentially, I'm guessing, like how the Quincy get their power. But there's another catch-22 to this that's very important. If these people die, all of that power will go back to Juha Bach, thus strengthening him and basically giving him like an immortal life, allowing him to continue to see. And that's really the most confusing part of the chapter, but it's still really interesting. And one thing that I've sort of theorized after reading this chapter is that maybe Juha Bach was like the original god of this universe, and he was usurped off his throne from this other like god king who we haven't really seen yet. It's very vague, and there's a lot of things that are open for interpretation in this chapter, but I think it's still really interesting. I just think it's a little strange that we're getting to this right after this really epic battle. But it's just to also emphasize that even though Renji has defeated Master Masculine, all of that power is going right back to Juha Bach, so it's still sort of a loss on their part at the same time. But the other thing that's cool about this chapter is we get a nice confrontation between Uryu and between Haschwalth. And Haschwalth essentially is not taking any crap from Uryu. He even mentions that he sort of knows that he's doing this to sort of avenge his mother, but there's nothing he can do about it because he's been branded by Juha Bach. He has drank his blood, he has his power now, and essentially all of the Serite has been covered in his reishi, and because of that, whoever uses this, all of the Stern Ritter and everything, all of this power is going to go back to the leader, which means he's just going to become even more stupid powerful. And this is sort of where the chapter comes to a close. It was a very ominous chapter, a very confusing chapter upon a first read, but I think it'll make a little more sense as they get into the backstory of Juha Bach. Like, I want to know where this baby actually came from. Did it just sort of appear out of nowhere? Is it like the blessed child that was destined to appear? They don't really get into any of that at all. The chapter literally opens up with, there's a baby that can heal people with its super stem cells. So otherwise, it was a good chapter. It wasn't quite what I was expecting because I wanted to see the real conclusion to the battle between Master Masculine and Renji, but we pretty much know how it's going to end anyway. The dude was cut in half and he pretty much exploded in air, so it's not like he's going to have like any final lines or anything, but still I would have liked to see a little bit more. And maybe you get to go see what some of the other characters are doing, like maybe Rukia. I'm sure she has some other cool abilities. But otherwise, it was still nice getting to learn a little bit more about the Quincy leader, who is a very mysterious villain, almost as mysterious as Aizen. And clearly, he looks like he's going to be one massive threat, and he doesn't really seem to care too much about the fact that people are using his power, because essentially he's just really greedy. He's a greedy king. He wants all their power. He wants to be able to live forever, and that's sort of what I'm getting from this. But otherwise, pretty good artwork this week. Pretty decent atmosphere, a little confusing at times in the beginning, and there was that nice confrontation that Uryu had with Haschwalth at the very end, where we get to learn about how he initials all of the Stern Ritter and gives them their special powers. So I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. I'm dropping it down just a little bit because I would have liked a little more explanation about really what the hell is going on. But otherwise, it was a pretty entertaining chapter that you should definitely check out if you're following the series. And so there it is, guys. Another good chapter of Bleach, getting to learn about Juha Bach, the golden child, not the one from the shitty Eddie Murphy movie. This was a pretty good chapter, but how did you guys feel about it? You can let me know what you thought with your comments below. Remember, guys, before you leave, hit that like button. Give this video a thumbs up. Definitely one of the best ways to support our videos. So, I'll see you next time, guys. Super Kami Guru 9000, out.